Hi there, this is Dr. Eve Ruiz, owner of Eve SpiritSpeaks MD YouTube channel. I am here to share with you the latest in intuitive guidance from Divine for the week of June 24th through June 30th. I want to make honorable mention here of yet another supermoon. This one is our final one for this year. The next supermoon will not be until June 14th of 2022. What does this mean for us spiritually? We have this time a moon in Capricorn. Anyone who knows a Capricorn knows someone who is able to push full speed ahead in work and in anything else they want to achieve. A moon is about yin energy. So there's a little bit of an opposition going on here. What does that translate to for you? Pat yourself on the back for what you have already accomplished and assess what is truly success for you. What is important to be productive in right now? For some, it might not be work. For some, success might have to do with relationships or with family. In case you were wondering why it's called a strawberry moon, Algonquins would harvest strawberries around this time of year. In the United Kingdom, you might be hearing the rose moon because of roses being in bloom. A full moon is usually a time of transition, a time of things bubbling up. So be aware as you consider things that you have accomplished and other projects you are working on. Also consider taking some time to rest, to turn inward. Think about what has been going on for you and do the usual purging yourself of that which no longer serves you and allowing in energy to manifest that which you need and desire. I am now going to use the Soul's Journey card, working here in my space with the 4-pillar archangels. I also have the violet flame of Saint Germain here that Jesus Christ and other Essenes used during biblical times. Interesting. They are all of the same color backing. All right, we're going to go through these one by one. The first card says blame. The phrase beneath it says, I accept responsibility for my well-being. For any of you who happen to be watching my narcissism series, I'm sure you can identify well with this phrase. When I accept full responsibility for my happiness, for my feeling safe, for my feeling wanted and loved in a beautifully healthy way with an equitable energy exchange between my partner and myself, my best friend, or whomever else I have a relationship with. Because remember, narcissism happens to anyone. And when you are working with someone, when you are in love with someone, when you are hanging out with someone who is narcissistic, and you feel like blaming them for your feeling lower sense of self-esteem or feeling inferior or confused, or fill in with whatever negative term you desire. Remember, the narcissist is usually manipulating you and has an intent to derail you, to defocus your vision from what they might be doing that you wouldn't approve of or that is not healthy at all for your relationship. However, you are responsible for what you do with that information once you realize it, once you receive it. When you become more aware of what is happening to you by someone in terms of their treatment toward you, you are responsible for your well-being. Whether it's a narcissist or it's an unfortunate event that has occurred to you, rather than blaming anything and everything or one or two things that aren't you for what's going on or how you feel, more importantly, about or after the fact. Be sure to take responsibility. Stay in control of your own feelings. You have the power. Don't give it up to anyone else. You name how you wish to feel, how you wish to cope, and take your actionable steps toward what is for your highest good. For instance, I have recently released myself from the energy of a situation that was not positive for me. There was an increasing amount of deceit. There was an increasing amount of blame toward me by someone else. And it got to the point where, when I was realizing what was happening to me, I decided I wasn't going to be suffering. I did something about it. And when the usual expected things happened in a negative vein from someone else, I decided that I was going to take charge and full responsibility for my happiness. Yes, I did completely acknowledge and recognize the actions that had been taken that were carried out without positive intention toward me. Yes, those did cause me to have certain kinds of feelings about it, or I should say, I chose to have certain feelings about that. And I decided, well, I could remain upset, or I could simply allow that instantaneous reaction to flow right through me and choose where I actually want to remain. And I chose a far better place than where I'd started in the first few moments. I invite you to do the same. When something does not go your way, or when someone is attempting to stir things with an ugly stick, or is attempting to take advantage of you, or exploit you, or to manipulate you, why take charge? The fact is, you are in charge. If you don't stay in charge, you are giving up your power. You're giving up your direction. Why give up your light? Why not let it shine? Process through those negative emotions. They're gifts that we are given because we are here on earth where negative events happen as part of our lessons and life challenges for accelerated soul growth. But don't let anyone bring you down. You're far too precious. Yes, you can grieve if you have recently broken up with someone. If you have recently broken up with someone who has been this way with you, or have had it out with a coworker or anyone else in your life because of steep differences of opinion or narcissistic treatment. Get through all of those lower vibrational emotions that are meant to serve you initially, but are not meant to stay. They're meant to flow through you and then see through a portal where you want to be, how you want to feel, and own it. It's yours. Don't give it up. Don't give it away to anyone else, and don't leave it on the table. It was part of your bargain when you came down here. Now, card number 2, self-esteem. This says, I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. Well, imagine that. Seems like we've been just discussing this. These are really thematically related, and this is so beautiful for this episode. In light of the full moon, we can be looking at, with insight, situations challenges or ordeals that we are enduring, and decide to accept responsibility for our well-being, and more fully then enjoy the gifts of our soul that not only benefit me, but benefit others. When we strengthen and uplift ourselves by taking action, taking charge, what is one of the first things that happen to us? We feel an increased sense of self-esteem. Very important. And then as we raise our own energy, that can watershed effect to the others around us. What a beautiful thing, as we are each here to learn our own lessons as well as to help others get through theirs. The third card is the success card. This says, I know that there is no greater goal than to love. I have to laugh because I was once in the car with my mother as a young adult and don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but I do remember saying to her something akin to the most important currency or richness in life is love. And my mother does not think the way I do. My mother, a workaholic Capricorn, is all about being very smart about accumulating as much material wealth as possible. So when I had mentioned that the most important thing, most important foundation on which to build our abundance is love, there was deadpan silence. You could have frozen an ice cube between us. Getting back now to this theme about looking at situations we are in, reviewing how we are carrying out our lifestyle in terms of going gangbusters for a certain goal, or maybe deciding during this full moon time that we could balance things out a bit more, mix in a little yin into that yang, and reach success in more ways than one that way. I have really enjoyed sharing all this divine wisdom with you this week. Please stay tuned for next week's. And if you haven't checked out my intro to the Narcissism series episode, help yourself. The important benefit in watching the narcissism episodes is that you don't have to run into someone with narcissistic personality disorder in order to benefit from it. Narcissism is another word for selfishness, and malignant narcissism is when you take selfishness to an unhealthy level. And so you become wiser about selfishness in general and can let your radar go up sooner when someone is beginning to undermine your effort or manipulate you into serving their needs while perhaps at your expense. It's much better to be all the wiser and catch something and nip it in the bud rather than go all out into this long drawn out ordeal. This way, you clear your time palette for much better things in life, things that can renew your energy so that you are feeling not only more self-esteem, but more passion, more drive to get to what you want to do and what you want to be. I wish for you to stay well. I also want for you to be blessed. Most of all, please be your most. No bullshit accepted. No excuses made for. Unapologetically, positively, authentic you. Namaste.